Does she have a lot of hair?
I just gave her a kiss when I left. It's Ronnie, Uncle.
He's going to say my name first, Sapa. Every time I pick her up, Sapa loves you. Say Sapa, Sapa. Got to start when they're real little. I know it's at 8 to 2.
Does everybody have their books?
Yes.
Mine not.
My bad on the backwards.
You have another one?
Oh, you got it. You got
Oh,
it. You
this?
got it. Okay, let's go through the book. And before we listen to Lizzie, we're going to go through the book a couple times so that we can practice saying these words and then get some guidance from Lizzie listening to her pronunciation. And then after the recording, we'll talk a little more just about what we hear, what we observe. All right, so the first one, Tulalip. Tulalip. Tulalip chud. Alta. Iltbead. To Elagwil chud alta iltbead. What is Elagwil?
Travel.
Get into the canoe is Elagwil. What is the two? A long time ago, I got into the canoe, and then alta iltbead is just reinforcing where? In the canoe. To Elagwil chud alta iltbead. Okay. Next one. Chada. To olo. Chud. To och. What is chada to olo? And Mihaela was getting ready. Yeah. Ulush, or the way that Lizzie says it, olosh, is travel by water. Chada to olosh, and I traveled by water. Chud to och twal, and I went to, and then she just says Camino head. But in parentheses, we have hoishid. Hoishid.
Oh, Camino head means voice.
Hoishid is Camino head. Eh. So we have these pages are not easy to work with. To Elagwil chud alta iltbead chada to olo chud to och twal Camino head. I got into my canoe and I traveled by water and I went to Camino head. Hoi chud. To ahwoa. What is that one? Then I was clamming now. A long time ago. Hoya. Te. Desajo. Hoya te desajo. And what is that one? My clamming was finished now. Hoya ti'ish des acho. Hoya, finish now. Des acho. My clamming. My clamming was finished now. I'm done clamming. Yep. Okay. To ela gwil chud al tek ilbid. Chada to olo. Chud to och twal. Kameno head. Hoy chud to achwo of. Hoy of ti ish des achwo. Okay, skipping to the next. Hoy chud. Ah. Oak. Oak. Hoy chud. Oak. Hoy chud, then I. Is go to a specific destination. So it's like, and then I went. Oak. Who remembers what oak? Home. Oak. Hoy chud. Oak. Then I went home now. Lechilla. Chud. Twal all. Lechilla chud twal all. What is lechil? Arrive. Lechilla. Arrive now. Lechilla chud. I arrive now. Twal all. To the house. To the house. This next one. Whew. Chwol Enjoy it. You're getting there. Chwol Uch italus. Tsi'ich. Tudskoi. Chwolaf uch italus tsi'ich tudskoi. Chwolaf uch italus tsi'ich tudskoi. Who remembers italus? Italus. It has to do with your face. Italus. Like.
Surprise.
Yep. Who was surprised? Her mom. Her late mother. And remembering how much we've seen the two on this, because she's talking about something from her childhood. Huh?
What was her mom's name? Sherry?
Jenny. No. Yes. Pilchuck Jenny. I was thinking Julia, but that's a different person. My mom was just shocked. My mom was just surprised. And why was the mom surprised? Twalti. Desachwo. Uolachad. So Twaltid's achwo, she was surprised about the clams uolachad that I had gathered. Olachad means to gather something from nature. So you could use that for gathering plants. You can use that for gathering anything that you're bringing home to utilize. Huola uchitalus siich tudskoi twaltids acho uolachadchad. Okay, next we get to think about who was with her. Lasquo. Lasquo. Lasquochad. Tia. Squabite. Rover. Lasquo means to go along together with somebody. I went along with my dog, and what was her dog's name? Rover. Huol. Las Guadil. Tias Quabite. The dog was just sitting there, going along, so that la means that as he was sitting, things were also happening. He was sitting in the canoe as the canoe was going along. Lil al ti'il elak. And he was sitting, lil al means by way of, along. So he was sitting along the back. What's the back? The stern. I'll hot. The captain. Altid Saulush. And what was Rover? Rover was a good captain on my travels.
So is Ela from the stern then? Or is it back?
I don't know what the...
If you have a bow ticker, your cab is in the back, and your gill net is in the front, and all the operation happens out of the bow. If you have a stern picker, then your cab's in the front, and your whole operation's set up in the back.
Oh, okay.
That's just, but you gotta know that the bow is the bow, and then basically the bow's in front of you at all times.
Okay, so we can try and follow along. I messed this whole book up. There we go. If you want, you can try to follow along in the book, but we are going to listen to Grandma Lizzie, and I may have to adjust this audio.
When we was canoeing, we wasn't like, they're in the stern. Like that terminology came in. You're either in the front or the back. That was loud.
Okay, so go ahead and just listen through this first time. I'm going to play the Lushootseed a couple of times. Is it too loud or is it fine?
Huh?
Well, at first it came out like the movie that we were
Doch ela glückstaat die Elbit, shida to Olos, shida to Okutwal, Camino Head, Ochi to Aho, Hoyoktis Aho, Ochi Tlakdoko. Chela Chitwalalas, Chekola Guchetalos, Tis to Skoid, Hortis Aho, O Olachachid. Las Coach the Tias Hawaii. Rover. Hollas Gudel Tias Cobalis Altis Elak. I'll have the captain Altis Olos. That would be a short story.
I love hearing her.
That'll be a short one. You're welcome.
Okay, let's listen to that again.
To Elbit, shida to Olos, shida to Okutwal, Camino Head, Ochi to Aho, Hoyoktis Aho, Ochi Tlakdoko. Chela Chitwalalas, Chekola Guchetalos, Tis to Skoid, Hortis Aho, O Olachachid. Las coche de Tias by Rover. Hol las Gudel Tias Cobalis Altis Ela. I'll have the captain Altis Olos. That would be a short story.
Okay, now we're gonna listen to her English. This is where she's translating the story.
I got in a canoe and I hit for Hat Island. And I got over there and I dug the clams and got through digging clams. Got better than a half a sack. And then I turned around and come across from Camino Head to Sabibada. But it surprised my mother because I went over there without her knowing where I was going. And of course I had the dog with me, Rover. He was my captain while I went across and come home.
Hey. Does it feel like you can follow along listening to her? She has a slower pace of being able to tell the stories. I'll have to try to see if I can find one of Martha's recordings for us to listen to maybe next week. But I love being able to listen to Lizzie. And I love the flow of her Lushootseed. And then you notice when she switches to English that she kind of trips up on it a little bit. That's one of the things that I've noticed the more that people study the language and the more that people speak it is there's a preference to do the language only. And that once you try to put into English what you had just said, you can tend to get tongue twisted and mixed up a little bit trying to put it into the English portion. And that I even through explaining to you guys, like there's a couple different ways that we can interpret it into good English. But understanding the Lushootseed portion, you kind of get to make that up in your own mind instead of trying to trip up on it. So let's listen to this again.
Ela glökstalti elbid, shida to olos, shida to okutwal, Camino Head, oichi to aho, oichtis aho, oichi tlaktopo. Chela chitwalala, chekola huchetalos, zistot skoid, waltis aho, o olachachid. Las coche de Tias by Rover. Hol las Gudel Tias Cobalis Altis Ela. I'll have the captain Altis Olos. That would be a short story.
What are some of the things that you notice about Lizzie's pronunciation? Is there anything that really stood out when listening to it?
There aren't a lot of pauses. Like
Her flow.
Yeah, it's a very smooth flow.
Mm-hmm. Let's listen because we have the word chud come up in here a couple times. Chud and chada. Let's listen for those.
Started Elbid. Ela glökstalti elbid, shida to olos, shida to okutwal, Camino Head, oichi to aho, oichtis aho, oichi tlaktopo. Chela chitwalala, chekola huchetalos, zistot skoid, waltis aho, o olachachid. Las coche de Tias by Rover. Hol las Gudel Tias Cobalis Altis Ela. I'll have the captain, I'll teach the others. That would be a short story.
So that's one of the examples that we gave earlier when talking about the inserting schwas in between consonants, because as English language learners, having all of those consonants next to each other can be a bit overwhelming to try to learn the language. But then you hear the smooth flow of the way that she speaks. And you notice that those has, as much as she's using chud, chada, she's not saying chud, chada, she's saying chud, chada. So like the flow of the language. That's one of the things that sticks out to me, is hearing the way that she is speaking and how we can learn these words and we can learn the terms and we can learn the grammar, but this is really what we want to be able to model, what we want to be able to move towards, is that beautiful flow of the language. If we had it all on one piece of paper, which I should have done, that would have been a little bit easier to follow along. Maybe we could do that tomorrow. I'll compile it onto one sheet of paper and then we can just flow through along with her instead of skipping through these pages. Because I think this book was even supposed to be printed differently. All right, anything else that sticks out for you guys when listening to Lizzie? Were you saying something, Bob? Skolbite? Skolbite. Did you say skolbite? Did you notice something with the way that she said it, or?
Well, I just thought she didn't enunciate it like I did.
Oh, we do. In the beginning of learning, we over enunciate just so we can get those unique sounds, so that when we start to.
Yeah, she does it, but not as. Or even on the low bit.
Yeah. Yep. That's another good one that we can listen for, is the way she says elagwil and iltbead. I do notice that we want to, especially starting out with sound charts, like overdoing things for the sake of training ourselves to be able to make those sounds and to be able to hear those sounds. So we overdo it in the beginning, but as we listen to the ancestors, that's where we kind of fine tune and like kind of calm things down a bit. Let's listen for iltbead. Iltbead, elagwil, and Guahalit and skolbite.
I like her voice. Really relaxing, comforting.
Calming.
I closed my eyes,
Yep.
like I could see her.
The other reminder is that when she did these recordings, she was an elder. She was an elder when she was approached to be able to do these recordings. So holding on to the language through all of the changes that her people were going through, all of the changes in the environment around them, holding on to that language, and then choosing to participate in something like recording with this person who you don't know what their intentions are, you don't know what they're going to do with the recordings. So she took a big risk being able to do this. Okay.
Tot ela glutstad til elbid, she that to olos, she to ofutwal, camino head, oichi to aho, oichtis aho, oichi tlachto. Chela chit walalas, chehola hu chetalos, tis to skoid, hortis aho, o ola hatchit. Las coordinatias by rover. Hol las gudel tias cobalis altis ela. I'll have the captain altis sa olos. That would be a short story.
She's so cute. even though she's not enunciating those, can you guys hear the air, like in her pronunciation? Like you can tell it's not the same sound that English, like English sounds so boring. But for like squabite, even though she's not overdoing it the way we say squabite, because we're trying to train ourselves to do that, you can still hear like that air, that lightness to it when she's saying the word squabite.
Doch ela glückstaat die Elbit, she that to Olos, she to Ofutwal, Camino Head, Ochi to Aho, Oichtis Aho, Ochi Tlachtofa. Chela chit holala, chehola hu chetalos, tis to skoid, hortis Aho, o Ola hatchit. Las coach the tears by rover. Hol las gudel tears cobalis altis elak. I'll have the captain altis to Olos. That would be a short story.
When we listen to this recording in order to transcribe it, some of the words that we did get tripped up on is let's see. Hoi chata of tok of. Hoi chata of tok of. So we had to take what she was saying in English and try to really listen to that little passage over and over in order to be able to translate it. So it was still a difficult project, this short of a story, to be able to go through and transcribe that. I think of the words like s'acho, like how we s'acho, we're trying to get that s'acho, s'acho. You barely even hear that from her. But you can tell that it's different than if she were to say s'acho. Like that difference of a ho to a ho. Like that just slight little that she says that lets you know that it's s'acho instead of s'acho. So those little tiny things were, those tiny sound changes were things that we listened for when we would go through and transcribe this and get it written down. I'll have the captain altid ulu. Even her whole, she's not like, you don't hear her like hissing at the recorder, but you can tell. The more you listen to it, the more you can hear that slight little whole instead of a whole. Joya. Joya's favorite one. And the reminder that this is her true experience. This is something she really did. This is a travel that she took from where her home was at Spibadat, over to Hoishid, over to Camino Head. I mean, we can look out the window and look at the bay and think about even thinking of your 9-year-old kid hopping in a canoe and just traveling across the bay or something. It's really freaking cool to be able to have this little passage and to know that at that time what life was like, what the experiences were like, and
to have the muscles to
yes.
pull across the holding like water with all the
yeah.
No life jackets, like with your little doll.
Yes, with Rover.
9.
So cool. So cool. I mean, at any age, really, at any age for anybody to get in a one-man canoe and do that travel, like whether you're 9 or 19, I'd still be stressing out and And yes, I would be shocked. No.
I was thinking her mom was probably thinking, whoa, I hope the water wasn't rough or smooth. Or something.
You'd have to know the tides. You'd have to know
Yeah.
weather patterns.
Yeah.
You'd have to, there's a lot of things that you would have to know. You'd have to know the tides to be able to get over there and be clamming at the right time. Just there's so many things that she had to be observant in as a child to be able to go and have that experience. The other thing I love about this is we utilize this as a traditional story. This is one of our Sia Hope. This is a traditional story for us. And
Is she still alive?
no. So when we think about even the experiences that we have today and the travels that we take and the things that we bring back into the community, or, you know, we need to look at all of those as being like the future Sia Hope. Our experiences will become the stories that'll get told and studied and talked about by the next generations. When one of my cousins reached out and she was really stressing on learning about some traditional stories so that she could tell it to a group of kids, I told her it's easier for her to tell her own stories, her own experiences being out on the water with our grandpa or with her dad and her brothers. It's easier for you to tell those stories than it is for you to try to hurry up and memorize somebody else's. So we all do have those types of experiences that are worth documenting and worth talking about and worth sharing. And this right here, oftentimes we break down stories that have animals as the characters, and we look at those as being our traditional stories. And then we get questioned like, well, how can a bear do that? How can a crow do that? And we battle with those, but knowing who Lizzie is and knowing that this is her experience, we know, you know, we all see that this was a valid encounter. This was a real experience. All right. Let's see where we can go from here. To prep for tomorrow, we are going to go over some place names. Let's open it up to this page that has the map. And then we're going to talk about some of these names. Number one, we've gone over this word. And pop quiz, what is this? Tulalip. How do you say it for 10,000 points? Who's going to say it? Ooh, you guys get to split it. Tulalip. 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 And I wonder, because we're reading it as Tulalip, if they have it, if they wrote it down the way that they heard it as Tulalip, Tulalip, just like that, twal. At that time, we most likely would have heard more of a Tulalip. So Tulalip. Who remembers the breakdown? So this duh is direction. It's a direction prefix, to or towards. Lil. The root means far. Op. bottom, base. So Tulalip means far towards the bottom. Tulalip, far towards the bottom. It's the name of our reservation, but more specifically, it is the name of the bay. It's what they named the bay. And what do we know about our bay? I was trying to see if we could see it right now, but the tide's up. What do we know about our bay?
Big sandbar.
The sandbar. Yes, the sandbar. This bay was named Tulalip because you have to go far towards the bottom of the sandbar if you wanted to land your canoes inside of the bay. Tulalip, far towards the bottom. Far towards the bottom of that sandbar. And we also do have it recorded by different elders. I think small-mouthed bay is what Teotmus is one of the ways that he translated it. And I think Harriet Shelton Dover said something like a bay shaped like a purse. So our elders did have different interpretations, but when we literally break it down, it's far towards the bottom. Far towards the bottom to land your canoes in. Okay, let's go over to Sbeetbadat. What do we know about this word? Child, one's own child. This right here makes a little one of these. So this is just like we have a way to reduplicate words to take it from one frog, walk, walk, to walk, walk, walk. Many frogs or more than one frog. We also have a way of making a smaller version. So what is a little child? A baby. Beetbadat. Beetbadat. Beetbadat means baby. So Sbeetbadat, this location, and when we drive or when we see this event, I'm trying to remember how it's spelled. Speebida. I think it's like that. So Sbeetbadat. That location is named Baby because there was a land formation that looked like a woman holding a baby. And due to erosion, we can't see it anymore. And I don't think we were able to get a picture of it, but Dave's not here. Do you? Egweed seed. Well, those tuning in get to see the picture, but all right.
Is the S because it's a position, or is it just S?
It's nominalizing it, so it's making it named for a location. Yep. Good observation, though. Okay, next one. Let's go to Hueshed. 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 This, the shud at the end has to do with foot. Hueshed, I didn't bring my dictionary.
It's where basket lady's foot hit.
It is. Let's see if my internet wants to work. Hueshed.
What did you just say?
It's
That
where
the basket lady lived?
her foot.
Oh.
We'll talk about that.
Oh.
We'll soon. Soon we'll talk about it. Joy was like, wait, what? I heard basket lady. We don't have.
You need it? No.
No, I found it. I got to it. Hoishid. In our dictionary, we just have Hoishid, which is Camino Head, the southern tip of Camino Island. But we do know that this shud, that shud lexical suffix, has to do with foot. And we're gonna move into being able to do some work with lexical suffixes and how they can change a word.
So
From foot to head specifically?
Foot, head, ear.
Well, if it's called Camino Head, but in Lushootseed it's
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah. Yeah. The English interpretation is definitely different. It's not reflective of
Oh, I see.
the hoishid. Yeah.
Post-its are upside down.
What were you saying, Thomas?
Hoi.
Hoi.
Yeah.
What about
I
it?
don't know what that means.
Mm-mm.
Should.
Hoi.
And it definitely means Camino.
What is Camino? Who's Camino Island named after?
Brian?
Camano.
Huh?
He was a captain, Camano.
Camano?
So we're saying it wrong. Camano head.
Camano head.
That's
People are gonna look at us weird when we start pronouncing it that way.
We gotta start it.
Yep, Camano. Okay, next one. Ach-asalit. Ach-asalit. Hat Island, Gedney Island. Ach-asalit.
recognize the cups. Remember we were like trying to say that's where the girls get their drinks from because of the cups?
Oh, wow, where do you guys go?
360?
You guys do go there?
I like the 350.
We'll be sure to give you our points.
We'll start using your phone number.
100. That's the daily stuff.
Ach-asalit.
Just
Ach-asalit. So that ali or ali means area. And although we don't have a direct translation in the dictionary for this word, we know that that island was utilized by women and children for clamming, and they would have camps over there, and that's where they would go for clamming. We also know that that is where the woolly dogs were. They were on the island. That's where they were protected from predators. So we have the interpretation that ach-asalit comes from the word chachas, which is child, one of the words for child. Chachas. Which would make you think that it would be chach-asalit, but it's chach-asalit. Chach-asalit. So our interpretation is that it's the children's area, knowing that there were camps over there where the children would be with the women and they would be clamming over there, and that they also had the woolly dogs over there being protected from predators. How many of you are familiar with the woolly dogs? I'm trying to see if we have a picture. I don't know what happened to our picture. The woolly dogs were a unique breed that our people within this area would raise them like children, and they treated them very, very well, and they sheared their wool and they used their wool for They use their wool for clothing, along with mountain goat wool, but no, I think that's Seswi Chab.
It might be on the backside of that one that he bought.
Oh, yeah, Wayne's mom.
Oh, it's under the quilt bead, right? Flat?
Brownie.
Flat? Yeah? Yay? Yay. Hey, yay. So here's one of the drawings that people have.
They're cute, though.
Little woolly dogs. So they were treated like children. So that's one of our interpretations for
Were they
a salit.
indigenous to the area? Like natural?
Yep, unique to this territory. Yep. Some of the reasons where we believe that the woolly dogs went extinct. For one, with the introduction of fabrics and with the introduction or with the displacement, our people were no longer able to take care of the woolly dogs the way that they normally would. They fed them so well. They kept them protected. They no longer had the ability to do that. So one of the reasons is not having the access and ability to be able to protect them from predators or from getting bred out with other animals that were introduced, other dog breeds that were brought here. And then the other thing that happened, are you guys familiar with the Camino Head slide? So there was an earthquake over 200 years ago, and Camino Head, there was a mudslide, and that mudslide caused a tsunami. And that tsunami made it over to, yeah, we can't see it. That tsunami made it over to Hat Island. So we lost women and children in both areas when that mudslide happened. All right, so we have Duhlelap, Sbitbadat, Khoishid, and Salit. We've made it to 1250, so we'll save the other handful of words for tomorrow. And I will be emailing out some worksheets ahead of time for us to fill this stuff in and have some notes. We're all done.
Wayne's Harriet.
Behold, is that ever?
Wayne thought it was
Is that really?
We
refer